Hi everyone, my name's Janice. I'm a Thermomix consultant. And when you purchase a Thermomix, one of the first things that I believe you should make is a stock paste. And I would start with the veggie stock paste. I use the veggie stock paste all the time, and you can use it instead of chicken stock paste, beef stock paste. I do make all three, but the one that I use the most is the veggie stock paste, and you can use it instead of the other ones. So I'm going to start cooking, and it says to add 200 grams of celery cut into pieces. So with your stock paste, you don't have to follow the vegetables that they say. I would take note of what they recommend. And also what I like is I have got the end of a bunch of celery which is extremely droopy, and that is excellent in your stock paste because it doesn't matter. It's going to be cooked and blended. So we want 200 grams. Look at that. I didn't tear that, so we'll do that again. Okay. We'll try that again. So because I had the lid on, when I took the lid off, it meant the scales weren't on zero. So there we go. We'll pop this in again. Okay. So I'm just going to get 200 grams, and I'm going to chop from the bottom and get the best of the what we've got left here. You can put a few of the leaves in. And what are we at to 170? Rightio. So I think that we can probably call enough. Okay, so next we need 2 carrots. What I've got is some very large carrots. So I'm just going to top and tail them and then chop them into chunks. And 1 brown onion cut in half. Rightio. 1 fresh tomato cut into halves, just like that. And 1 zucchini cut into pieces. I did have zucchini. Oh, there it is. I've got nearly a full zucchini. And 2 garlic cloves. dried bay leaf. So now your herbs and spices, they're optional. One to two sprigs of fresh basil. No, I've only got dried basil, so you can substitute your fresh herbs for your dried herbs. Now, fresh herbs, there's 1 tablespoon of fresh herbs is equivalent of 1 teaspoon of dried herbs, I believe. And then we want sage. Well, I've got dried sage. And it just says 1 to 2 sprigs, leaves only. And then rosemary. Now I've got some rosemary. I'm just going to tip all that in there. So this is fresh rosemary that I had that I've de-sprigged and I've had that in the freezer. Just the end of a lot of bunch of rosemary I had. 8 sprigs of fresh flat leaf parsley. I love the smell of parsley. One more. I don't know how many that was, but okay, now we're going to put the lid on with the measuring cup, and we're going to turn the speed selector, this to speed 6 for 10 seconds, and just to chop those vegetables up a bit. Okay, now we're going to scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl. Yeah, that was a few seconds. We've chopped all those vegetables up like that. Next, we're going to add 150 grams of rock salt. There is some debates on whether or not you should put that much salt in your stock paste, because obviously a lot of people don't like salt. I always put the full amount in. It keeps in the freezer for a good 6 months. And if you don't put the salt in it in the fridge, if you don't put the salt in it, you have to freeze it. So that's the amount of salt for that amount of vegetables. And then when you're making a dish, you know, that would serve 6 people, you would put 1 or 2 tablespoons of the beef stock, of the stock paste in there, which actually works out to not very much salt. A tablespoon of olive oil. I'm just going to eyeball that. Now we're going to cook it, and then we're going to put the simmering basket on instead of the measuring cup. So put the lid on, and then we pop the simmering basket on instead. Okay, now we're going to cook that for 20 minutes at 120 degrees on speed 1. Okay. While that's cooking, I'm going to clean up the mess and I'll come back when it's ready. So we've veggie stock's finished cooking. We're going to click next. It says to remove the simmering basket and pop the measuring cup in. And we're going to blend this. Now we're going to bring it slowly up. Hang on. Turn speed selector to 5. And then increase gradually to speed 9. So when you're blending hot food at high speed, you don't go immediately up to the higher speed. You go up gradually so that it doesn't, splash everywhere. So we're going to start off at speed 5. So we'll just go into speed 5 and we'll wait for it to get up to speed. Okay. Now one at a time. And then we're going to put it into a glass jar and keep it in the fridge until ready to use. So it says see tips. So what we'll do is we'll go into recipe detail and we'll go down and we'll read the tips. Okay, so it'll tell us, 1 tablespoon of stock paste is roughly equivalent to 1 store-bought one store-bought stock cube. And you can make your own vegetable stock using 1 tablespoon of stock paste per 500 grams or 2 cups of water. So it says you can store the stock paste in the fridge for several months. Now I keep mine, like 6 months sometimes, depending on how much I use it, but I have kept it up to 6 months. And the salt in the recipe is a preservative, and when mixed with water as described, the stock will not taste too salty. So, and they say if you wish to decrease the salt, then they recommend storing it in the freezer. Anyway, so we'll go back to our recipe. And that's our stock paste. And that is, I do notice this in the recipes that I use it in. It is such a flavour boost. It really is delicious. And it's all fresh vegetables, other than a few dried herbs, but you can use fresh. It's all fresh vegetables. There's no preservatives other than the salt. No additives. So you know exactly what's gone into this. And it really, really, really does lift your recipes that you use it in. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.